Ladies and gentlemen, up next, an interview with Joe Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan, one of the biggest communities in the world when it comes to mass participation events. They run in every continent, over 300 races a year. Joe has built this from nothing. A very honest and open and candid conversation now with Joe Sena. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I have the pleasure today of interviewing Joe Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan. Joe, a very warm welcome to you today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, although I don't know where here. I haven't left this location in like 150 days, so I'm always right here.
Let's reflect back on the last couple of months. I know it's been a challenge, but what have you taken from these last few months?
You know, when you think about Spartan, 2,500 years ago, you think about Spartan over the last 20 years, what we've done. This is what we train for, right? We train really hard. We bleed in our training so that we don't bleed in battle. And so we're just in a battle right now. And it sucks. And I got to deal with, customers that are upset. And I got to deal with employees that I have to furlough. And I mean, it's a lot of work and it's hard and there's no good answers. I mean, I've got countries that owe us money and they're delaying payment. Like, fuck, there's sand in every gear in every direction. And the conversation I have, not everybody understands the gravity of the situation that a company like ours is dealing with. We had 325 events planned for 2020 across 45 countries. We'll be lucky to have 30 events executed by the end of the year. So, but who am I to complain? I'm alive and you're alive. So I can't complain about anything. We'll get through it. This is not the Great Depression. This is not World War I. It's not World War II. It's not Vietnam. I got a fresh egg sign behind me. It's a sunny day and we will get this done. No big deal. Easy day.
Well, then let's look at this year because you've been on such a massive growth trajectory, Joe. I mean, continent to continent, you're growing exponentially. And then the crisis happened. It's a kind of roller coaster for leadership. Have you relied on any leadership qualities or methodologies? Is resilience the main driver for leaders in a time like this?
I'm doing this for 40 plus years. I'm doing business and I've been banged around and batted and gone through ups and downs. I'm not a street guy, but like, I don't know. I'm a regular down to earth guy, right? So I've seen it all. And I'm always optimistic. You got to take care of the team the best you can, even in a situation where you got to talk to hundreds of people and furlough them. You gotta try not to piss off your community because we've got this giant community. With our Tough Mudder brand, we have 10 million people that we've got to keep connected to us and close to us. And I just wake up, dust off, and start over. Like every day I'm alive. And I think the people around me, the people around leaders that are able to just dust off and keep hard charging forward, they rally behind that person. If we were at war, let's just envision that for a second, and I was a leader and I was stuck and I was like, gee, I don't know if we should take that mountain or not take the mountain. I was always like, who the fuck would want to rally around that? Right? But like, I have an opinion, I make quick decisions and we go. And not every one of them is the right decision, but we're moving and we're shaking and we're getting shit done. And I'm doing the best I can. And I'm always happy, no matter what's happening.
I mean, the challenge we always see is there's so much negativity, Joe, and I hate to say it, led by governments. And they're creating this really negative mindset that we should just write off the entire of 2020. What's your perspective in terms of what we can still do in 2020 that's positive? I mean, there is things happening that are really bloody damn good, but...
I personally think, 2020, so I personally think in the next 30 days, you're going to see infection rates and death rates start coming down. It's not just a gut instinct. The Spartan brand gets to talk to a lot of smart people. So I've been saying all along, this virus just needs to run its course. It needs to work its way through the system. You cannot fight and run away from an invisible enemy. Can't do it, especially one that is transmitted through cats. Not just through cats, but like cats aren't wearing masks every day, and there's 100 million of them in the United States. So like, you can give it to your cat can give it to somebody else. Like, there's no chance you're beating this thing. Yeah. So protect those that are vulnerable the best you can. Let it run its fucking course, and let's move on. And I suspect in the next 30 days, you're going to start to see a drop off, and hopefully people could start to come to their senses. Look, even when the vaccine is readily available, we know throughout history, especially the immediate history, many people don't take vaccines. They don't believe in them. They don't trust them. So like, even when you've got a readily available vaccine, are 7 billion people going to take the vaccine? No fucking way. They don't even take the flu vaccine. The regular flu, like, it's not going to happen. So I think we have to learn to live with this thing. Let it run its course. And that's that. And now, as far as giving up on 2020, that's like giving up on yourself. I'm not giving up on 2020. I'm not giving up on myself. There's still an opportunity to live a healthy lifestyle. We were all a mess before the virus. We were more of a mess during the virus as far as our health and wellness goes. We eat shit food. We're not active enough. And any screwball out there that says to me, 150 years ago, people only lived till 35. Okay, well, a lot of people died while giving birth. Women used to just go out in the woods and give birth alone. They didn't have a nice hospital with a bunch of doctors around them. And so that would pull down the lifespan of a person when you're looking at averages. And so people really lived to 60 or 70 back then when you take out that segment of deaths. There were a lot of people back then that didn't understand infections, so they'd be out milking a cow and then, help deal with it with somebody's injury. So a lot of people died with that. Take that out. People were living to 60, 65, and they had an incredible health span. From the moment they were born to the moment they died, they were healthy, and then they dropped dead, as opposed to being kept alive on machines and hospitals. And so when you ask about 2020, maybe this is a wake-up call. Who knows? Maybe Warren Buffett will fucking wake up, and maybe he could say, hey, maybe eating ice cream and drinking milkshakes and hamburgers and drinking soda is not as healthy as he claims it is, right? Like, maybe instead of reading financial statements, he could take a look at some of the statistics out there on what this shit food is. Hopefully I can curse on this podcast, on this thing, because it's killing people. Right? Well, Warren Buffett's 80 years old, whatever. And look how, he eats hamburgers every day and McDonald's and soda and ice cream. Okay, he's 1 in 7 billion. He's the exception, not the rule. So I don't know. By the way, if he came out and said, let's get our shit together because this virus in 2020 has exposed us as a country, as a species, to our weakness. We're fat, we're sick, we're unhealthy. Maybe this will wake us up. Maybe somebody like Buffett could wake us up. And now I don't need him, and I implore all your listeners and viewers to not need him, and just wake up early. It's really fucking simple. Wake up early, sweat every day, take a cold shower, don't eat shit food, don't eat 24 hours a day, and you'll be fine.
I mean, you're on the way now, Joe, to impact the life of 100 million people. I mean, that is pretty outstanding, my friend. Was that the vision when you first started the company? Has the vision changed? Has the vision evolved?
I just wanted to affect myself when I started. I just wanted to get healthy myself. I knew that if I put a date on the calendar, if I sign up for an event that's scary, it is going to force me to train, just like a boxer that has a fight coming up, a heavyweight fight or a lightweight fight, right? They have a fight coming, they start training, they get serious. It's now real. Once that poster goes up around town that says so-and-so is going to be fighting, he or she has got to get real about their training. And now I happen to be a kind of person, there's a small percentage of us that whether we have a date on the calendar or not, we'll do some exercise, we'll take care of ourselves. But even with that motivation, discipline that I have, I get much more serious when I get a date on the calendar. So when I started, it was really for me. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm getting all these stories. People are coming up to me. You changed my life. I'm back with my husband. I'm back with my wife. I lost 100 pounds. I started a business. And so I said, fuck, I'm going to get a free pass to heaven if we could change 100 million lives. So I want a free pass to heaven. So we're going to change 100 million lives.
How do you manage to build that community? Because there's building a network and then there's building a community. And arguably, I'd say Spartan's almost like a social movement now. How do you get everyone moving in that same direction?
We're really lucky in that the product sells itself in the sense that once they do it, once you finish it, you like rope family and friends in. You feel better, you look better, you're sharing the story, you're sharing your photos, your videos. So that happens. I think it's such a hardcore event that, when friends bleed together, they stay together. So like that Spartan community bleeds together. That gets them, that brings them together, and then they're like a strong, unbreakable bond. And then I don't know, who doesn't want to be a Spartan, right? So if you get to brand yourself as a Spartan as opposed to a cream puff, that feels badass. Like in this world, we're like a religion, right? Like people want to be affiliated with something, right? And so this is a cool thing to be affiliated with. It's nice that you like a football team and you wear their jersey, but like you're not participating. You're drinking a bunch of beer and you're watching it on TV. This is like you're a Navy SEAL. You're Delta Force, and you get to wear the jersey and you actually do it.
Okay, so tell me this: you've got no shortage of partners, Joe. There's companies that are, wanting to get in front of you, wanting to get involved in your network, whether it's apparel or tech brands, whatever. You've got to pick the right partners. What are you looking for in partners? What's worked for you guys? And what's some of the reflections?
The biggest problem is negative selection. There's a lot of partners out there that come to us that are the wrong partners because they're pushing food and drink that is unhealthy. And so, I worked on Wall Street for 15 plus years, and you could get the most morally and ethically aligned people in the world and make them a CEO of a food company, and they have no interest in poisoning people. But then all of a sudden they got to make their quarterly numbers, and so maybe some ingredients are a little cheaper if I buy these. Maybe if I do this kind of advertising to children, we could make a little more money. And so it's really like seeped in to the food industry in such a way that just bad. It's just bad. But I go back to Warren Buffett, like it's just bad, right? He's a giant investor in Coca-Cola. I get it. He's made a lot of money with it. He probably could single-handedly bankrupt Coca-Cola if he sold the stock and came out and said, look, it's probably not a good idea for you to drink soda. He'd put the company out of business. So like, here's these great people that we look up to that are running these giant companies, and they get caught up in it. It's about the money. And so when we get these phone calls and these emails and these introductions to these big companies that are poisoning people, I don't want to do it. I don't want to align with them. Now, by the way, if Coke came out and said, look, our Smart Water brand wants to, of course I would do that deal, right? I believe people should drink water. That's a good idea. So we got to pick our partners carefully and never choose the dollar over the health and wellness of our community.
Let's look at live events, Joe. We are a live events company, and of course now we're doing these virtual events, and there is obviously value. We want to get moving. We want to get people interacting. There's a lot of talk about how everything is going digital and going online. do we have to recreate the wheel here on live events? Do we have to recreate the fundamentals on this? Or is it just like you say, getting past this and honestly getting back to what we love doing best?
I don't remember, you don't remember the Spanish flu, but we could look it up and read about it. It killed quite a few people. There's been some big pandemics throughout history, and live events still existed after that. So I'm not worried. Like, human beings are drawn to each other. We are all losing our minds, being isolated. The unintended consequences of not bringing people together is probably far worse than the deaths we've seen with COVID. So I am not worried about it. I think I've never believed in virtual events. I think I will probably travel less because I could do, this feels good right now. I could talk to you and not have to jump on a plane, but I'll still fly to local. I just flew out to California the other day, so I'll still do my trips. The demand we are seeing, the pent-up demand to come to our events, when we come, we're going to kill it. We're going to kill it. Once the lights come back on, once the politics, jockeying for position, and this virus kind of fizzles out, like I said, over the next 30 days, we're back in business from a live event perspective. 50,000 endurance events have been canceled. 50,000.
And then
when I put on that event in Jacksonville, Florida 6 weeks ago, people came up to me and started crying. They couldn't even get a word. They were crying and saying, "Thank you. Thank you. You got me out of my house. I needed this."
Let's look at you personally, Joe. I mean, for the long as I've known you and obviously listened to your podcast, you're pushing out some really fantastic content. You know, the motivation, the inspiration, resilience. Is these common themes that you tend to want to speak on and you're obviously very passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we stand for. I mean, the Spartans were pretty resilient creatures. They took children at 7 years old and trained them for 13 years on a mountainside. They gave them one article of clothing every year. They told them they could eat as much as they want as long as they stole it. They told them they wouldn't get in trouble as long as they didn't get caught stealing it. So these were some badass kids that turned into hardened warriors and were as resilient as anybody we've ever known. I mean, if you go through the U.S. military, you can go see any colonel, any general, any high-ranking military. Usually, they are part of some Spartan group. That's the nomenclature they use because they were tough. And so I think we could all look. We are all bubble wrap these days, right? We are like zoo animals. We sit, we type, we eat crap food, we don't sweat. So when shit hits the fan and there's a gun to our head and we actually have to perform, we can't deliver. We break. We break under pressure. We can't. We're not training for hard shit. So yeah, I mean, that's the message I'm pushing is like, we're all going to face tough times. We're all going to face, God forbid, a relationship problem. People around you die. People get canceled. Like, all kinds of stuff is going to happen, guaranteed. And so you practice piano, you practice math, you practice doing your job. Why wouldn't you practice adversity? Why wouldn't you practice it? Manufacture a little adversity in your life. Take a cold shower for 10 seconds. It's not going to kill you. Go for a run in the rain. You're not going to drown. Do some burpees. Right? Practice. Manufacture a little adversity in your life. I'm not asking you to go live in Mexico City and struggle on the streets, right? But you can practice a little adversity so that when tough times hit, you're prepared.
I did a run in the rain this afternoon. I tell you what, it's bloody fantastic. If you want to get yourself up and out. Now, you're a multi-selling author, Joe. What's coming up in the pipeline in terms of next book? Any ideas coming up? Anything getting written down at the moment?
Already written, already getting ready to be published is a Spartan parenting book. Okay. It'll be out, I hope, by year end. And then I wrote a fiction book that is going to be unbelievable. We got a business, but yeah, we're cranking stuff out over here during COVID.
Good, man. Good to hear. Any last thoughts, Joe, in terms of what you maybe want the audience to take away with them? Any words of inspiration? Any words of motivation?
I would say, guys and gals, you are idiots if you don't eat more plant-based, you don't stretch more, you don't sweat more, and you don't take more cold showers. I'm sorry the emperor has no clothes. We are fat, unhealthy, and heading in the wrong direction. And if that's politically incorrect, so be it.
I think that's good advice, pal. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Sena. Joe, thanks very much, pal.
Thanks, pal.
Hey guys, I'm Linda, the co-founder of Weeba here in Singapore and Hong Kong. I'm really excited to see all of you at the Fit Summit. I've attended all of the events in the past, whether it's virtual or in real life, but I think now is the time when we need each other more than ever through these challenging times to be able to share and offer insight and listen and to be able to collaborate so that we as an industry can rally and grow and show up for people who need us more than ever. I'll see you guys real soon, and I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone.
Hi all, this is Pete Few, co-founder of Yoga Movement, a boutique yoga studio chain here in Singapore and home to the Yoga Movement Academy and the Yoga Movement app. Just reaching out today to give a big shout out to the Fit Summit team. They've been invaluable partners of ours through the last years. We've attended all of the events and it's been an amazing source of information for not only myself but the rest of our management team. We've met amazing partners through the years, potential investors, potential growth partners, but also we've just gained insight into best practice through the industry from other really quality operators through the region. A special and secondary shout out to the team for their support through the last few months. It's been a really tough time for a lot of operators, but Fit Summit has largely taken the lead on approaching government, trying to seek clarity around measures, and also just running events for free for the industry to make sure that we actually have, a shoulder to lean on through this time. So I'm actually really excited for this next event. I can't wait to see the speakers. It's such an amazing lineup, and more power to the Fit Summit team. They've been great contributors to the industry, and all the best for this next event, guys. It's going to be a cracker. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Hi, my name is Alex Defina. I'm the founder and owner of Perform in Hong Kong, and incredibly excited to participate in this digital Fit Summit event. Always taken incredible value from the various Fit Summit events, and I'm sure this one will be actually the most valuable for all of us, despite it being online. It's really the first time our industry has experienced this protracted pause button and caused a whole host of challenges for us to overcome, both the big global brands and down to the bootstrapping boutique operators. So hearing from the rest of this fitness business community about how people have pivoted, what's worked, what hasn't worked, where things are at in the current situation, the various opinions about how we might emerge from this COVID lockdown, and the lessons that have been learned throughout this period, which might change our thinking about business structures going forwards. So I'm incredibly excited to hear from all the diverse people on the different panels and keynote speakers, and look forward to networking and collaborating with anyone else doing business here in Asia Pacific.
Hey guys, my name is Jack Thomas. I'm the founder and CEO of Base, and I'm also the host of the Fitness Business Asia podcast. 2020 has undeniably been a difficult, tough, crazy year. We all know it. I'm not going to deny it, but we have to stay positive. We have to keep looking forwards. And I think this is a time when our true entrepreneur has to kind of get excited by the challenge and really want to overcome it. We are looking at forward at Base by working on our technology, working on our online offerings, and really making sure that every single client that comes to Base has a great, safe, fun, positive experience. We are excited for the times ahead. We know there's going to be many challenges, but we are ready to take them on. Wherever you are in the world, I hope things are going well for you. Do reach out if there's anything I can do to help.
We're very proud in Asia of companies that have grown in Asia and managed to grow exponentially on an international scale. No company better suits that title than One Championship, the sports media property company that has grown to become one of the biggest and most recognizable names in world sport. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Fung, Group President of One Championship, as he explored not just their beginnings, but their future in terms of live events, esports, engagement, and of course, relationships across the ecosystem. For anyone looking for motivation and inspiration of how to quickly and successfully build a unique brand, look no further than One Championship. Let me introduce you to Fung.
Championship, great crowd, very noisy. This is what they came for. Tremendous level of interest in this contest.
Nobody in this sold-out arena can believe it. Shocks the planet. I am shocked by what we just saw. One championship, two-division champion.
This country hosting a major martial arts organization for the first time ever.
We have just seen something extraordinary. We have just seen one of the most amazing sights in martial arts history. This is what it's all about. Becoming the first man ever in One Championship history. And look at that. And there it is. Oh, the big come on. That's good. He's the One Champion. My word.
And broadcast to over 2.6 billion potential viewers, this is One Championship.
Wherever you're watching, are you mouth agape staring at your television, going, what just happened? Could be setting up the twister here, Steve. Oh, the twister! It's the biggest upset we've seen. The unstoppable has been stopped.
So get ready for an act of non-stop martial arts action!
Fung, thank you very much for joining me here, and thank you for sharing some insights into One Championship. Let me jump straight in and maybe address building scale, because of course One Championship are now a global phenomenon. You started in Asia and you've expanded very successfully across the whole region and across the whole globe. What's been the secret to success in terms of building scale within One Championship?
Thanks a lot, Ross, and appreciate you having me in the session. And thanks for your kind words as well. We are indeed a global phenomenon today. We got very lucky on a few counts, I would say, that set us up very well to scale quickly. And just so you have a reference point, today we are actually the fourth largest sports media property globally for online video views, which is crazy. It's after WWE, NFL, and the NBA, and we're actually number 4. And I think to do that in a short span of 8 to 9 years, obviously we did a couple of things right, but a lot of this is also, I think, luck, timing, and secular trends. I think the first thing that benefited us a lot is the fact that the sport that we picked is actually from this part of the world, right? Martial arts is from Asia. It's not just from Asia. Every single Asian country has a martial art. So it was already widespread as a participation sport before we came along. The only difference is that before we came along, no one had organized and commercialized it, across all of Asia and united 4.4 billion people behind one sport. So I think, first of all, the latent opportunity of organizing and commercializing martial arts with Asia as a base was just a huge opportunity. And I think the other part, of course, is that sports media as an industry is a lot more developed in the West versus the East. Those of us like myself that grew up watching and playing sports and be big sports fans would have grown up with the likes of the NFL, the NBA, the EPL, but Asia didn't really have anything of global relevance, right, or repute. But that's once again why there was an opportunity. Ultimately, people do want to get behind sports leagues, homegrown sports leagues. People do want to see local heroes performing well on a global stage, and I think that's what we have given the Asian audience. Luckily for us, martial arts is not just popular in Asia; it's also popular in the West. Yeah. Right? The UFC, over the past 3 decades, has built a mixed martial arts property. Europeans do very well in the Olympics in Asian martial arts. Everyone knows Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, right? So we were just lucky, right? We chanced upon a situation, and we started in the region of the sport's origin. And it's just created a huge growth trajectory for us. I see the other thing that we got lucky with is that we were, of all the global sports media properties, we were the only one, or are the only one, that was born in the digital and social age, digital, mobile, and social age. We were founded in 2011. And if you think about the past, couple of decades, global sports properties are not born every day. You don't have an NBA being born every day. You don't have an NFL or an EPL being born every day, right? So these things happen once in a while. And we're probably the youngest of all the global players right now. But while we're the youngest, we were also born in an age where, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Tencent, right, were already part of day-to-day life. And because of that, we were able to ride the growth of those platforms. We invested very heavily in social and digital media early. We made a bet. We were not locked, our content was not locked into legacy deals with TV networks that prevented us from distributing our content more liberally. So liberal distribution we did and executed.
You've obviously built this growth mindset within the company where it's not easy, of course, to grow this exponentially, and it takes the whole team behind you to make sure it's a successful and sustainable growth.
Yes, of course.
How is company culture factored into this, and how you built this growth mindset into your employees?
Yeah, look, ultimately we are a values-based organization, and no matter how you express it, culture, values, the way people live their lives, the way people approach a problem, the way people treat each other is fundamental, not just to the brand, not just to the business, but to the brand as well. Yeah. When people ask me what our business model is, I would summarize it in 3 words: values, heroes, and stories. For us, it's ultimately about martial arts being Asia's greatest cultural treasure. Martial arts values of integrity, humility, honor, respect, courage, discipline, and compassion. These are values that are embodied by our heroes, and we want to give them a platform to express these heroes and tell their stories on a global stage. So it's fundamentally a values-based organization, and in any values-based organization, culture has to come first. So when we look for people, culture is always the first screen. And one of our core values as a company, for instance, is integrity, right? And that actually is our number 1 core value. And you know, if you don't have integrity, you don't have anything, right? Because you can't trust each other. And when you're fighting, you know, the battle that we're fighting, it's a high intensity, you know, it's a high intensity war that we're in. It's a high intensity sort of a growth situation that we're in. You need people to be able to trust each other, and you need people to be able to approach things with a certain entrepreneurial spirit. The other thing that we often, the other moniker that we use internally is PhD. We look for people with PhD, not a doctorate, although they have it, that's fine too. We're not going to hold it against them. PhD means poor, hungry, and determined. And yes, we don't need people who are poor and hungry literally, but in spirit. You know, people that are always trying to do better, people that are always striving, right, to get an additional inch, you know, for the business. Yeah, so culture is everything.
Well, you talk about obviously these values are intrinsic, and it's been obviously very effective at how you are engaging your employees. Let's talk about maybe how you're engaging your fans, because as you just touched upon, this online aspect of fan engagement is very difficult in the modern era. And what are your thoughts at the moment in time, and how are you using platforms? How are you building that online fan experience?
You know, I think we've moved into a world, and obviously this is helped a lot by the advent of social and digital media, right? I think we've moved into the world where consuming sports content goes way beyond just consuming a live event, right? Or a delayed broadcast of an event. Now, obviously that still has to exist, and that's still core to the sporting fan experience, right? Because that's the crown jewel of any content stack, a live event, you know, with unpredictable outcomes and edge of the seat entertainment. But we're moving into an age where people are desiring to view what we call shoulder content, right, around the live event. These could be things like short clips, documentaries, life stories of the athletes, reality shows. That's a little bit like what we're doing with The Apprentice. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we actually are partnering up with MGM to launch The Apprentice One Championship Edition. So we have the license to do this Asia-wide. It's going to be a global broadcast focused on building a business. Chatri, our founder, will be hosting the show. You know, that is completely unrelated to the live event, but it does leverage the brand that we built and the fandom that we built. So the way I see it is all sports properties. I mean, look at The Last Dance, right, with the NBA. You know, charting the six-time world champion Chicago Bulls, right, in basketball. Once again, that is a piece of content that is related and that relies on the sporting brand, right, of the NBA and the Chicago Bulls, but it's not actually the live event itself. And this is really how you know, how we are. That's the most fundamental step, right, in how we move to engage our fans. So now we have not just, you know, martial arts, we have esports, and we have general entertainment. You know, we're shooting a movie in the Philippines, we're shooting this reality show, The Apprentice, later this year. And within all of that as well, you're going to have short clips, long clips, highlights. So that's really, you know, ultimately it's about giving fans on different platforms a very bespoke experience that extends way beyond the live game.
Okay. You talked about the partnership with MGM for The Apprentice. Very exciting. I know, of course, that you are very successful and quite innovative in how you are creating partnerships across the ecosystem. What do you look for in partnerships, and what are some of the partnerships you're currently working on and obviously looking forward to growing in the future?
Yeah, you know, the term partnerships is so broad, right? You know, in a strange way, it's funny you use that term, because I often tell people that this is actually a business of partnerships. At the core of it, we have the IP, the sporting IP, right? That is entertaining viewers, millions of viewers around the world, right? But in order for us to thrive and to grow, it is completely relying on win-win partnerships with broadcasters, with sponsors, with countries, and within countries, tourism authorities, sports authorities, and vendors, right? Vendors that enable us, right, to execute our business. I mean, even athletes, they are our partners too, right? They are our partners too. Without them, we couldn't have a brand or a business, right? So the entire thing actually is wrapped around the notion of partnerships, and every partnership is different. You know, we have partners like I mentioned, tourism authorities in various countries. What we bring to the table, right, is national branding through 150 country broadcasts, but also a tourism driver for people to, you know, fly in, watch the event, and bring a little bit of tourism revenue right to the country. That's one type of partnership that we execute. And the other sports IP that does this pretty well as well is Formula One. Like Formula One, we are also a quote unquote traveling show, right? So we go to different cities, different countries, and we bring a lot of benefit, national benefit to the countries that we host events in. For our sponsor partners, Xiaomi is a good example, right? Xiaomi, the Internet of Things company that started life as a handset manufacturer. We have a global marketing partnership with them, and we basically help. We help them with marketing solutions. Various activations in stadium, out of stadium, broadcast, social media. We create bespoke content with and for them as well. So because of the 360-degree nature of our platform and a 365-day always-on nature of our streaming and broadcast asset, there's just so many ways that we can activate or market our brand. One of these partners, and of course, like needless to say, we have partnerships with the likes of all the digital giants, be it Facebook, be it Tencent, and all our TV broadcast partners in the US. We're with Turner Sports. In China on Beijing TV, in Southeast Asia, all the biggest free-to-air players in all the major Southeast Asian countries, and we rely on them, right, to broadcast our content, and we jointly enjoy, the economics that come from that together. So, at its core, it's sports IP, but we rely, on all these partners to create win-win situations for everybody, and that's how we scale.
Is it quite challenging, I suppose, in a world where you are working with so many different partners across so many different industries and verticals? How do you assess how to make new investments? Because you could invest in multiple channels, and obviously with endless results. But is there a criteria for how you look at investments, and what are you looking at maybe investing more in the next couple of years?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm back to the question that you asked me earlier about hiring for culture. That's one reason why, you need people with a strong sense of culture and a strong sense of, with a strong entrepreneurial spirit, as I mentioned, PhD, poor, hungry, and determined, because the opportunity set for us is so vast. I dare say we're probably the only startup in Asia that is truly, truly, truly global today. Well, we're not really a pure startup anymore, but you know what I mean, right? For companies, a sort of a CVC, Series D company, the very few in Asia, definitely very few in Southeast Asia, are truly global in nature. If you think about where we're playing in the US, we're playing in all across Asia, north, south, southeast. We're in Europe. If you go to Europe, you can see our broadcast on TV, on digital, all across from Western to Eastern Europe. And it's pretty amazing, that a company born out of Singapore could be doing this on a global scale. So when you talk about sort of prioritization, right, and where to sort of bet that next dollar or man hour, that's a very challenging thing. But I think ultimately we have to think about everything in terms of ROI, and we think about ROI in terms of two key metrics. One, and the primary metric by which we measure the business, is reach, frequency, and engagement. RFE, we call it. How many eyeballs or people are you actually reaching with your content? Frequency, how many hours are they watching your content? Engagement, are they sharing it on social media? Are they talking about it? Is that buzz in town about your event, or your show? And the other, of course, is dollars, right? Revenue. What is the return of this investment, and what is the time horizon to monetize or make back your money? So, it's hard for me to give you a really sort of set framework, because our opportunity set is so big. I think of all the growth companies in the region, we probably have one of the biggest opportunity sets. But that's how we think about it in terms of ROI.
I know you've been very successful in the past few years at building capital up. And of course, you've got some incredible investors behind you that obviously go straight in with the vision there. One of the recent developments that we've noticed is your investments into esports. And so I'd love just to hear your thoughts, Fung, and the potential that esports has, of course, and how does that fit in with the long-term strategy for One?
So esports is something that we launched last year in a big way. And we had our first major esports event end of the year, Singapore Indoor Stadium. Yeah. We actually surpassed 85 million viewers for our first event. Yeah. 85 million viewers across our first event, which was amazing. But you see, the reason why we could do that is because we didn't start our esports vertical in a vacuum. There was a real thesis behind why we launched it, and the platform already exists. I think that's the beauty of what we're doing, and really that's the power of having a sports media platform. What does having a sports media platform mean? It means having an ability to stage events all across the world, every 1 to 2 weeks in a different country. That's not easy to replicate. We have that. It means an ability to broadcast that event or stream that event to over 150 countries in our case. It means the ability to raise sponsorship for events and also to market the event. See, once you have that, actually, even though we grew up with martial arts as the core, we can technically translate that into any sport we want to. Because what we have now is a sort of best-in-class, first of its kind, multi-country operating platform, broadcast platform in Asia. And esports was a natural choice of a second sport because actually there's a huge overlap between martial arts and esports fans. So we did a survey, 70% overlap. They both tend to skew relatively young, millennial and Gen Z. So it was something that was a natural move for us, and it's something that we also, I guess, took a more entrepreneurial sort of spirit to. Right, there's a big opportunity. It's growing. There's a huge demand for it. One of our key expertise as well is storytelling. As I said, values, heroes, and stories. Being able to tell stories about athletes, and in esports, actually, that capability and that sensibility is quite lacking today. So that's something we hope to bring to the esports community over time.
We've obviously saw that in the last few years, you've expanded your live event portfolio. We're seeing events now in Myanmar, in Korea, Japan, China, which is fantastic to see. What are the thoughts at the moment on the difficulties that live events pose? And is there a way back for us to get back to the old, if you will, in terms of fan-based live events? Or are you predicting for the foreseeable future that we'll have to work within these limitations of private events for live events?
Yeah. Well, I think the reality of COVID-19 is that live sports for now will have to figure out how to modify its format, right, to stay in front of audiences. Now, I think, so if you look at, actually, we were the first global sports media property to do this in February, where we had a closed-door event in Singapore, no audience. So, very SOP heavy, checks, etc., all that good stuff. We did it in February. And actually, in the subsequent months, as COVID started to spread throughout the world, other sports properties started having to follow suit. And governments obviously started, shutting down, imposing, pseudo lockdowns, people on home quarantine. So I think live sports had to adapt and has to continue adapting. That's actually what we're doing. We're coming back into the market end of the month, July 31st, with our first live event in a couple of months. This will be in Bangkok, and it will be audience free. The NBA is setting up a bubble, right, in Orlando as well, and they're about to start that season as well, right, with closed door events. So live sports will have to adapt. I think the first step will be figuring out how to execute audience-free events, on a regular basis. But look, as I always say, live sports has survived world wars. It has survived calamities. It has survived pandemics. And my bet is that it will survive. It definitely will survive COVID-19. It's just a matter of how people consume, enjoy, and interact with the sport, right? So it may take some time for big crowds to amass again in big stadiums, but guess what? Because of COVID, people are also at home in front of a screen, right?
True.
Be it a laptop screen like the one that I'm looking at right now, or a mobile device like this, and people still want to be entertained, right? So as long as you have content and fresh content that's being produced and being broadcast, there's going to be a lot of business.
Yeah, look, I'm a live sports fanatic, but actually digitally watching sports these days is absolutely fine. I'm very happy to consume it that way. I look forward, of course, to making sure I go back and see the next live One Championship, and great to see that it's happening in Bangkok later this month.
Yeah.
What other business trends are you seeing, Fung, at the moment that maybe you're having to perhaps consider or navigate towards or from? What else are you seeing on the horizon?
Well, I think one of the big trends we are seeing is the move is the advent of online viewership, and that is something that I know I'm sort of potentially preaching to the converted whenever I talk about this, because everyone knows about the advent of it. But I think I think it's happening at an extremely high rate, especially with the younger generation. When I speak to my younger friends, it's always, I think many people have stopped watching TV. Many people consume content on an OTT platform, right, on a mobile device. So I think that's one. I think that's one big thing that all sports properties are very focused on, and that's also why we have partnerships like the one with Microsoft, right, where we're working with them to mine and to harvest all the data across all our platforms and really help us understand our customer, our consumer better, and help us make better decisions, keeping in mind where that person is located, what that person's habits are, consumption habits, viewing habits, demographic, psychographic. We're moving into an age where the digital interface has allowed you to reach out to your fans in a very direct way. And that wasn't possible when we were living in a linear TV world. So that's obviously one big thing that I think all, not just sports, but entertainment IPs are figuring out how best to leverage. And actually, that's one of the reasons why we were able to grow so fast. We got lucky in the early days. But I think the next step has to be figuring out how to really harness technology, right, to better understand your fan, your customer, but also interact with them, right, in a more engaging way, and to gamify and and make the experience more interactive.
Has the events of 2020 in any way affected your long-term vision for One?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't at all. Look, once again, I'm not going to pretend. COVID obviously presents some short-term challenges, right? And we will have to modify the way we do business for now. For instance, not having audiences at our live events. But like I said, live sports has survived many different bad things in the world. It will survive this. How people consume it, interact with it, and enjoy it will change. But fundamentally, we're upstream. We're the IPs, right? The IPs in general, once you've established some degree of incumbency, it is hard to go away because it's about hearts and minds. People want to see their favorite One championship athlete battling out in the ring for sporting glory again. And it doesn't matter if it's an environment. It doesn't matter if it's on a mobile device, in a stadium, on a computer screen. They still desire, that type of entertainment. So our long-term plan, look, ultimately, the world's largest sports media property is the NFL. Their market cap is about $90 billion.
Yeah.
And that is a single country sport. Now, I know there are people outside the US that like American football. I'm one of them, but we are few and far between. It is largely an American sport consumed by a country of 300 plus, million people. Martial arts is a sport consumed, that comes from a region of 4.4 billion people. So our goal, and some people call us audacious, but if you do the math, we should be as big and as relevant as the NFL, at least as relevant, if not more relevant than the NFL in the long term. And that hasn't changed.
I'm going to close by asking you what excites you most about the future market for One Championship. Obviously, there's so much potential, but what are you looking forward to most?
Yeah, ultimately, I think every business has a true north, right? Has a true north. And when you ask me what am I looking forward to, actually what I'm looking forward to is just continuing to put our heads down and focus on what our true north is. Yeah. What is our true north? Our company mission, it's not to stage the biggest and best fights, by the way, although that is what we do. But our company mission actually is to unleash real-life superheroes that ignite the world with hope, strength, dreams, and inspiration. Sports has an ability to bring people together. It has an ability to rally nations. It has an ability to inspire people who feel a little bit down on their luck, right? It is such a powerful thing. And I think if you think about what's happened with COVID, yes, obviously it presents health challenge, but it has presented huge social challenges as well. You and I know that there are that the less fortunate in society, unfortunately, are perhaps more heavily affected by the ill effects of COVID. We all know that for political reasons, there is a lot of divisiveness in the world today, right? That COVID has just accentuated or exacerbated. I think sports is something that ultimately, like I said, brings a little bit of cheer, allows people to forget about their worries, and keeps people happy and entertained, during a time of great challenge for the world. So if you think about what I want in the long, it's quite the same as what I want in the short term. We just put our heads down, keep doing our job, and we keep inspiring, lighting up people, bringing joy, bringing happiness, and unite, all of Asia, 4.4 billion people behind a sport that's been around, for centuries.
Well, I think that is a great message to end this on. Fung, I couldn't agree more with you. I think we now have to move forward and promote positivity, change, and influence.
Yes.
And if we can do that on a global scale, the world will be a much better place. Fung, thank you very much for your time today. And obviously, we wish you and the One Championship continued success as you continue to grow and be champions of Asia on a global scale.
Thank you, Ross. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate the time.
Today we're going to walk through 5 steps that you can take to create and sell your own online fitness program. Let's go. Hey there, my name is Daniel and welcome to another video on Uscreen Health and Fitness, where we help you make money with your fitness content online. As a fitness trainer, one thing is always true. There just aren't enough hours in the day. You want to help as many people as possible with their fitness goals, but there just isn't enough space in the calendar. Well, not if you want to eat, sleep, or have any form of a social life. So how do you help more people get the results they want without needing to magically add extra hours to your day? Well, you'll be glad to know that the answer is pretty straightforward. You create an online fitness studio, which is a video-based platform that allows trainers to work with clients online. Through this hub, you can share workouts, courses, nutrition advice, training plans, and recipes. Basically, if you think it'll help your audience and improve their results, you can create and share it with them through your online fitness studio. This is an awesome option for personal trainers and course instructors because they allow you to work with an unlimited number of people virtually anywhere. In fact, online fitness studios hosted on Uscreen have an average of 343 monthly subscribers, earn an average of $7,503 per month, and have clients in up to 188 countries. It's hard to scale to 343 clients with real-world training, and you can't get there without adding any extra hours on the gym floor. Obviously, this can be a practical solution for any trainer with a busy schedule trying to figure out how to earn more money, but it can be even more effective if you've already got an established audience on a platform like YouTube or Instagram. Shell Shock Fitness is a great example of this. It's actually a physical studio based in Franklin, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville, where they run a wide range of group fitness classes. But they wanted to expand their reach and grow their business, and the owner, Shelly, wanted to bring her brand of training to people who couldn't attend in-person classes at the studio. So she created an online fitness studio where she could record and upload classes so that people could follow them at home or in the gym. She's even got apps so people can stream her programs to their TV, tablets, and smartphones so they can take their training with them whenever and wherever they need them. Shelly is able to coach more people without having to be there at the point of purchase, hire new staff, or expand her physical facility. Let's break down exactly how you can do something similar with your own online fitness studio. Online fitness studios can be broken down into 2 types of business models: transactional video on demand, or TVOD, TVOD is what we refer to it at Uscreen, where people pay a one-off fee for your content, and subscription video on demand, or SVOD, SVOD, where people pay a recurring fee for access to the video content. The model you choose will dictate the type of business you run, so it's worth understanding each one. Transactional is the pay-as-you-train model. This is where people pay a one-time fee for access to and ownership ownership of the videos you create. Think of it like the online streaming version of buying a fitness DVD or P90X course. It's a great model if you have one specific thing that you want to teach, like a particular class, workout routine, seminar, or workshop. You could also create a bundle that works as a complete one-off package for your clients. Let's say you're a fat loss focused personal trainer with an incredible 12-week training plan that leaves everyone looking like a Greek god. The plan contains everything needed to see results, including training plans, diet plans, exercise videos, recovery tips, and much more. You can put all of the videos and resources together into a bundle and allow people to buy it and access it forever. So let's take a closer look at the pros and cons of this particular business model. You can create a high ticket offer at $197 or more. Once the product is ready, you can sell it for years to come. You can easily promote this to in-person and online clients. It's easy to create an affiliate offer for third-party trainers to sell for you. You need to continually find new customers to keep the revenue flowing. Your income is not recurring or predictable. It can take a lot of time to create a comprehensive product. You need to invest a lot of time into marketing. The membership business model requires people to pay a monthly fee to access your content, which means that if they pay, they can access your videos. And if they stop paying, they lose their access to your videos. This is the perfect model for trainers looking to build a comprehensive, client-focused online training business because it allows you to continuously create, update, and share content that will deliver real results to your clients no matter where they are. You have the flexibility to post multiple training plans, multiple course options, nutritional advice, recipes, ebooks, challenges, workshops, and much more. The fact that you can update and renew in real time ensures that your clients always have the most up-to-date information. Let's take a look at the pros and cons of this model. You can earn a recurring income. Your income is more predictable. Customers stay subscribed for longer. The business model is built for scale. You can easily promote this to online and in-person clients. Video content can easily be repurposed for marketing. You'll need to invest time into regular content creation. Trade off short-term income for long-term income. With your model picked out, it's time to talk about how to structure and deliver your content to online clients. We'll leave the video subject matter up to you. There are two elements of an online fitness studio. Macro level content, which is the big picture of what your studio will offer, and micro level content, which is how your content looks on an individual level. Macro level content is your site's core message. So when you look at the big picture, you need to ask several questions. Why are clients coming to my site? What do they expect to see when they get here? What do I want to teach? How am I going to teach it? What resources do I need to have in place? You need to know the goal of what you're creating before you put the individual pieces in place. So if you're a strength coach, what sort of things would your site need in order to deliver the best possible experience? Strength-focused branding, videos that focus on technique, progressive plans they can print out, nutritional information, workouts for busy gyms or travel days. Just looking at this list, you can see the site theme and structure starting to take place. You could also apply this to class-based workouts too. Like if you're an instructor with a unique take on spin classes, you might create a list that looks like high performance branding, bike tutorials, bike recommendations, downloadable playlists, workouts focusing on different levels of intensity. It's a different site, but you can see the macro level structure taking shape. Let's look at Spin TV. It just takes a quick look to see that this is offering something much different than Shell Shock Fitness. So really take the time to get familiar with what your studio is going to be and who it will appeal to. After that, you can move on to the micro level, which is the content your audience will consume. This is what your audience will actually watch, interact with, and experience. Thinking about the strength coach example again on a micro level, you'll need to think about how you're going to create for different experience levels, different levels of intensity, different training environments, printable workout sheets, progressive training plans and how they'll be broken down into videos and resources, meal plans. You also have to think about how you'll deliver your content. Will your courses follow a logical sequence? Will you record alone or in front of a class? Will you use live videos or written content? Will you need to create PDFs? This can feel a little overwhelming, but if you organize things properly with categories and tags and such, the content will be easy to find and navigate, especially on a platform like Uscreen. This is your studio's storefront. It's where people will come to learn more, see pricing, and find out if your style is right for them. If you need some inspiration, here are some examples. One thing that will influence your website is your branding. If you can make your design aspirational, hopeful, and give them a glimpse of the experience they'll have while training with you, you'll be on the right track. This is an area that many trainers struggle to get right. While you may know what your time is worth on the gym floor, it can be difficult to translate that online. We've done some research, and here's what our study found for the average online fitness studio. Transactional businesses charge between $75 and $110 per bundle, while subscription-based businesses charge a monthly fee of between $12 and $15. So we'd recommend starting there and then increasing or decreasing based on the feedback from your audience. We also found that online fitness studios that offer a free trial earn a lot more money than those who don't. In fact, the average monthly income for a studio without a free trial is $5,637, and the average income for a studio with a free trial is $9,575. Our research also showed that offering a free trial of around 1 week gets the best results. Marketing is a vital part of your new studio. You need to connect with people who will benefit from your training and love the message you're sharing. The best way to do this? Build a community and create a sense of belonging. You can see this everywhere. Les Mills, CrossFit, Zumba, powerlifting, ketogenic diet, veganism, carnivore diet. You can probably spot someone from these groups a mile away because you'll hear them coming and talking about it before they get to you. But jokes aside, you can leverage this sense of community to market and grow your audience. Online fitness studios in the form of video-based training sites allow you to scale your business and reach as many people as you can. It'll help you smash through the barriers and reach way more people in way more places, the same way that Shelly from Shell Shock Fitness took her Tennessee-based training method to the entire world. If you've got any questions or need help, be sure to reach out to our team. So does that make us your personal trainers for your business? What's the one thing stopping you from going all in on your own online studio? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.